Okay, so let's start with our feet hip distance apart. So we want a nice straight line from our hip, knee, ankle, soft bend through the knee, nice, standing nice and proud. Shoulders are back and down, head is floating on top. Imagine we've got a tennis ball between our chin and our chest. So we're just going to start with some gentle foot sways, so just challenging our balance, working a little bit into our core as well. So we're going to inhale here. As we exhale, it's going to gently sway over to the right-hand side. So we want to keep the big toe, little toe heel in contact with the mat. So just gently mobilizing through the ankles, just noticing how all the muscles here are working together to keep us upright, to keep us balanced. Carry on swaying side to side. I've just got another one to let in. So find that gentle sway from side to side, keeping the tummy pulled in, spine is nice and long. So coming back to center now. Inhaling here, as we exhale, we're going to take it forward. So moving the hips just slightly over the toes. Inhale back to center, exhale, take it back. So finding that point of focus to assist with your balance. Let's take it back again. We'll do 2 more in each direction. So just working all those little bones in the feet here. So finding a strong foundation within the feet, starting to challenge all those little bones, keep us nice and grounded, coming now back to center. So now we've got our foot position, we're going to work on our pelvis. So I'll show you from the side. So imagining that our pelvis is a bowl of water here. We're going to inhale as we exhale, just tilting the pelvis forward. So you want to imagine you're pouring that water out the front, coming back to center here. Now we're going to take it backwards, so flattening through the lower back, pouring that water out of the back of the pelvis. Let's take it forward. Coming here back to center, keeping that length through the spine. So we want to just be moving here through the pelvis. Let's do 1 more each way. Coming now to rest in that neutral position, so we've got this natural S curve in the lower back. Inhaling now through the nose. As we exhale, we want to start activating our abdominals. So as we exhale, beginning to pull the tummy button in towards the spine, just finding that connection. Inhale. Exhale, tummy button in towards the spine. Keeping nice and long through the spine, shoulders back and down, our feet are grounded. Exhale, let's pull that tummy button in towards the spine. So last piece now, as we exhale, we pull the tummy button in, also start to activate those pelvic floor muscles. So imagining you're stepping into really cold water. So that's the bottom part of this core chamber. So we've got our diaphragm, our abdominals, and our pelvic floor. So everything here is nice and active, keeping us stable, keeping us upright. Inhale, so we're going to start mobilizing through the shoulders. So just gently raising the shoulders up towards the ears, rolling them back. Inhale here. Exhale, let's roll it back. Keeping that length through the spine. Imagining we've got a helium balloon, pulling our head up towards the ceiling. Keeping that length through the spine, keeping that engagement within the abdominals throughout. Exhale, let's take it back. Let's do 1 more in this direction. Coming back to center now, we're going to take it forward. Exhale. So as you bring the shoulders down, really squeeze those shoulder blades, slide those shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, take it forward. Let's do 3 more of these. Not forgetting what everything else in our body is doing, keeping everything else working and active whilst we isolate through the shoulder. Let's do 1 more forward. So bringing a little bit more challenge now, we're going to place the hands onto the shoulders, so we've got a longer lever here to work with. We're going to do the same again. Let's circle backwards as we exhale. Exhale it round. So as we go back, squeezing those shoulder blades together. See if you can get a little bit further round with each circle. Try and make the circles a little bit bigger as those muscles start to warm up. Let's do 1 more. Bring it back to center. Let's take it forward. Really try to work that whole ball and socket joint within the shoulder. Really lubricating through those joints. Let's do 3 more. That's 2. Last one. Let's make it a nice big circle. We're going to take the arms out to the sides now. Bending at the elbows, palms are facing forward. So we look a little bit like a cactus or a W. So I'm going to demonstrate here from the side. So thinking about our core engagement, so our abdominals here are still active. We've still got that neutral spine. Inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to slide the hands up towards the ceiling. So sliding the shoulder blades up the back. So it may be that you can't straighten the whole of the arm, because if you do, sometimes you can naturally arch backwards. So the core here, the key here is about holding that core control, just moving through the shoulders. Exhale. Let's take it up as we exhale, keeping that tummy button pulled in, pelvic floor is active. Let's do 2 more. Exhale. Really pulling those shoulder blades down as we come back. Bringing it back to center now. Inhaling here, we're now going to take it forward. So imagine that you're folding your collarbone in half almost. So exhale, let's squeeze those hands together. Inhale, taking it back. So really opening through the upper spine here. Exhale. Exhale, take it forward. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Let's do 3 more. Just coming back to that core every time. Keeping that little bit of activation within the abdominals. Last one. Bring it back to center. We're now going to take it backwards. So again, keeping our core. We don't want to flare forward through the rib cage. So exhale, let's squeeze those shoulder blades together. Just going to admit 1 more. Carry on as you were. Okay, let's take it back for 3 more. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Take it backwards. Just gently lowering the arms down by the side now. Give your shoulders a little bit of a roll if you need to. Just come back into that neutral position. So thinking about our waist here, so our movement here wants to come from the obliques in the side of the abdominals. Our hips are staying nice and rigid. So imagining we've got a pair of concrete trousers on. So inhale here as we prepare. Exhale, let's slide our right hand down our right thigh. Inhale back to center. So working here on our lateral flexion. So working into the flexion in the middle part of our spine. Lower spine is staying stable. So improving mobility within our middle back, takes some of that pressure off our lower back. Inhale. Let's do 1 more each side. And if you're happy here, we're going to stay here. Otherwise, we're taking the arms overhead. So now think about picking some apples off a tree. So exhale, let's lift 1 arm up towards the ceiling. Bring it back to center. Exhale. So always thinking about what our hips are doing here. So getting that feedback from your video if you've got it on. So we want to keep those concrete trousers on, keeping the hips nice and stable. Exhale. Exhale it up. Let's do 1 more each side. Really reach, really lengthening now through the side of the body. Exhale. Gently bringing those arms back down. Give them a little bit of a shake if you need to. So the arms are going to have a rest for a while. We're going to work a little bit more into our hips, but just concentrating on keeping the activation here within our core. So the hands can be on the hips for a little bit of balance. So inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to slide 1 toe forward. So just keeping that contact with the floor. Inhale back to center. Now we're going to take it out to the side. So working more into the side of our glutes here. Back to center. Finally, we're going to take it backwards. So squeezing those buns, take it back, keeping the hips stable so we don't want the lower back to go with it. Let's take it forward. Exhale it out to the side. Taking it back, really squeezing those buns. Taking it forward. Out to the side. Back to center. Remembering that helium balloon, pulling us up towards the ceiling, keeping that length through the spine, standing proud. Exhale. Taking it back. Let's do 1 more each way. Squeezing it now out to the side. Last one, taking it back, bringing it back to center. Just giving your ankles a little bit of a shake. Shifting your weight now onto the opposite foot. So remembering big toe, little toe, heel. So that's the foundation we want to work with. Inhale here. Exhale, let's slide the other foot forward. So really lengthening through the front of the leg here. Exhale, take it back. Exhale behind you. Out to the side now, so working into the side of the glutes here, exhale. Keeping that tummy pulled in, pelvic floor here is active, also providing that extra stability around the pelvis. Let's do one more each way, sliding it forward. Out to the side. Last one, take it back, really squeeze those bums, bring it back to center. Give your ankles a bit of a shake if you need to. How are you all doing? See a few of you moving around, that's a good sign. We're going to take the legs a little bit wide now. So again, just thinking about the grounding in our feet. So we want to find those 3 points again. So our hips are now naturally rotated outwards. So just find that point where you're comfortable. So we're going to work again to our rotation a bit here into our obliques as well. So the arms are going to come wide. So taking the arms out to shoulder height. I'll give a little bit of an adaptation for this for anyone with high blood pressure, because I don't need taking your head sort of below your waist. So inhaling here. As we exhale, we're going to take one hand towards the opposite foot. Exhale it down. If you have high blood pressure, please just take it down to as far as the knee. So you're still getting that rotation without the extra risk. Exhale, let's take it down. So nice soft bend in the knees here, so we don't put any extra strain on the knees. So the movement here is coming from the spine and from the hips. And as we come up, we want to bring that length back into the spine before we fold forward again. Exhale. Take it down. Standing tall, let's do one more on each side. Bring it back to center. Last one. Brilliant, well done. Again, just give the arms a little bit of a circle back. Just give them a little bit of a rest. We're going to stay in this position. You may find it easier to bring your feet a little bit closer together. Challenging our balance a lot more now. So taking one arm up towards the ceiling again. The opposite hand can be on the hip. We're just going to work one leg at a time to begin with. So shifting your weight onto your opposite foot. So we're working in this sort of diagonal plane. Exhale when you bring the opposite leg up towards the elbow. Exhale. Staying alive. That's what we're aiming for. But with the knees joining it as well. Let's do 4 more. If it's too much, you can just do a smaller version of the movement. If it's difficult to do the full range of motion, always coming back to center. Really working through those abdominals, through the pelvic floor. Let's make this the last one. Bring it back to center. Gently lowering that foot down. Shifting the weight now onto the opposite foot. So find those 3 points of contact. Gently raising the arm up above the head, shifting the weight. Hand on the hip if you need it. Inhale here. Exhale, let's take the elbow towards the knee. Exhale. Again, movement just coming from the hip and from the shoulder. So working in that diagonal, working more into the side here of the abdominals. Let's do 4 more. 3. That's 2. Well done, you're getting there. Last one. Bring it back to center. Gently lower the arm down. Bring the feet back together. Shake it all out. Have a little drink if you need to. Okay. So we're going to move down into a seated position now. I want you to try and get down onto the floor without using your hands, if possible. So working here from the core, so really activating those core muscles. So it could be that you come onto your knees first or squat down. Give it a go. We'll gradually transition to the floor. I'm going to move you forward a little bit, just so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better on the floor. Okay. So coming into a seated position, our legs are crossed, if that's comfortable. So we want to find the sit bones here in the bottom of our pelvis. So that'll provide that contact with the mat. Nice and tall through the spine again, so that balloon's still pulling us up towards the ceiling. Hands just resting on the knees. Inhale here. As we exhale, just going to sort of collapse through the middle of the tummy. I'll show you from the side. So we're rounding through the spine. So each vertebra here is almost pushing towards the back of the room. Inhale, coming back up to seated. Standing proud. Exhale, let's take it down. So dropping the chin towards the chest, bringing the chin to float back on top of the spine. Exhale. Quite a nice release here for the middle back. Bring it back to center. Exhale. So now placing the hands in front of us, I'm going to add a little bit more of a stretch as well. So inhale here. Let's drop the chin towards the chest. As we curl down, we're going to take the hands forward. So working at elongating the spine at the same time. So take those hands forward, feel that nice length through the back of the spine. Inhale, bring those hands back forward. Roll the head back up on top of the spine. Let's do that again. Dropping the chin down to the chest. For a time, sliding those hands forward. Taking a breath here. Exhale, let's bring it back up. We're going to do one more. Exhale, chin goes down to the chest. Slide those hands forward. Try and reach a little bit further this time. Keeping the pelvis grounded, keeping those sit bones in contact with the mat. Inhale, coming back to center. Taking the hands overhead now. We want the palms to face towards the back of the room so I can see the backs of your hands. So as we did when we were standing up, keeping the tummy here nice and active. We don't want to be arching through the back. So I'm going to push those hands backwards. So really squeezing the shoulder blades together. Inhale, release. Exhale. Quite a nice one, this, if you do a lot of desk work and find you get that strain in the upper back. Just provides that counter movement, really. Exhale. Bring it back to center. Exhale. Let's do two more of those. Really squeeze those shoulder blades together. Really activating through the whole of the shoulder girdle here. Exhale. Gently bringing the hands back down. Now I'm going to take both hands over to one side. So taking one hand to meet the other. Again, we want the pelvis to still be grounded. So each hip bone is level and the bottom of the pelvis in contact with the mat. Inhale. Exhale, we're going to walk the fingers round to the opposite side. So working on that rotation within the middle back. Inhale here. Exhale, let's take it the other way. Always thinking about keeping the pelvis in contact with the mat, keeping these two sit bones even. Exhale. Let's walk it around. Inhale here. Let's do the last one. Really squeeze the air out the lungs as we come over. If you're happy here, you can stay doing this. Otherwise, we're going to add a little bit of an arm movement. So let's take it over. As we get to here, we're going to take that top arm and circle it overhead. Come back to center. Exhale, take it round. Take that top arm, circle it overhead. So almost like you're combing your hair, that sort of movement. Exhale. Let's do one more. Last one to this side. Take it over. Exhale. Fabulous. Just walk the hands back to center, coming to sit back, nice and strong through the center. Moving into a crook position now. So we're still seated, but the legs are bent. So our feet are working again here. So our feet are providing that anchor for us. So we want to keep the 3 points of the feet in contact with the mat again. So just starting here, we did do this, a variation of this on Thursday. We're going to take the arms out in front of us. So abdominals are strong, or spine extensors are working. We want to move the upper body as kind of a unit. So we're not flexing through the spine, we're keeping it nice and rigid. So exhale, hinging through the waist here, just finding that sweet point where you can keep control of the movement without sort of falling backwards. So you want to hold it here. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale. It's really challenging the abdominals here, feeling those shakes. Bring it back to center, pushing those feet down into the mat, keeping nice and grounded. Bring it back to center. Let's do one more of those. I'm going to add some arms, so challenging more into our shoulders. Back to center. So as we exhale, we're going to take one arm out just to shoulder height. Bring it back to center. Exhale, let's go the other way. Exhale, so you can take the head to follow the arm as well. Just provide a little bit more mobility through the neck. Exhale. If it's too much with the arms, you can just stick with the hinging or just do the arms. Exhale. So really using those abdominals to help pull us back. If you want to progress further, we're going to take both arms out. Inhale. Taking it back now. So just coming to shoulder height, bringing it back to center. Exhale. So I hope you can all feel your abs working nice and hard here. Quite a deep challenge for the abdominals without being too sort of difficult a movement. Let's do one more. Exhale. Bring it back to center. Bring the soles of the feet together now. Just allow the knees to drop out, just folding forward, just releasing a little bit through the hips, giving the ankles a bit of a rest as well. Shaking it up. Okay. I want you now to come and lie onto your backs. So gently moving down into a lying position. Our hip distance apart, knees are bent. We're just going to start by pouring our water out of our pelvis again. So arching the back off the floor. So pushing the tummy button in towards the ceiling. Bringing it back to center. Just turning that tailbone under. So pouring the water backwards out of the bowl. Let's just do one more of those in each direction. Just finding that neutral pelvis, coming to rest in that midway point. So we've got a nice little natural arch under the lower back. Arms are just rested by the side. So again, your feet are providing that foundation. Inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to lift the arms overhead. So again, remember what I was saying about keeping the abdominals in. We don't want this to happen. We want to keep everything active, everything pulled in, keeping that contact with the mat. As we exhale, I'm going to circle the arms round, which I'll give myself quite enough space. So exhale, inhale, take the arms overhead. Exhale, taking it round. So just gentle arm circles, just take them at your own pace. Precision is what we're looking for here, so we don't want to be going sort of too quickly. Just keeping that control of the movement, really lengthening through the fingers. Let's do one more in this direction. Bring it back to center. We're now going to take it the other way. So as we inhale, the arms are coming out to the side. Exhale, bringing them back overhead. Inhale. Exhaling here, keeping that tummy active, pelvic floor working here as well. Exhale. Let's do two more in this direction. Really lengthening through the fingers. Feel that full length of the arm. Take it over for one last time. Bring it back to center. The arms can have a little bit of a rest just while we master the movement with the leg. So your hands can be outside for a bit of support if you want to. So I want you to imagine you've got a spirit level across your hips. So we want the two hip bones just to stay pointing towards the ceiling. As we drop one knee out to the side. So exhale, let's take that knee out, pushing the opposite hip down. So we don't want this tilt to happen. We want to keep the pelvis nice and stable. Exhale, and take the leg long, pointing through that toe. Bring it back to center. So exhale, drop the upper knee, lengthen through that leg, bring it back to center. So almost sort of circumducting through the hip here. It's really working with our pelvic control, our abdominals working hard to keep us stable. Bring it back to center. Let's do one more on each side. Bringing it back. Exhale, keeping those hip bones level. So we're now going to add the arms as well. If it's too much, you can just do the arms or the legs. It's entirely up to you. So inhale, we're going to take the arms overhead. Exhale, the arms come out as one knee drops out. Lengthen towards the bottom of your mat. Bring it back to center. Take it onto the other leg. Exhale, circle those arms round. Lengthen towards the mat, really lengthening through the toe. Inhale it back to center. Let's do it again. We're just gently flowing here. Allow the movement just to flow. Just be mindful of keeping those hips stable. Tummy button is pulled in. We don't want the lower back to be arching here. Dropping that knee out. Lengthening through the leg. Back to center. Let's take it down. Can we do one more of those each side? Let's really lengthen through that leg as we come back down to the bottom of the mat. Bring it back to center. Exhale. Bring it around. Fabulous. Just bringing one knee in towards the chest. Bringing the opposite knee in. Just give yourself a little bit of a hug. Just rolling out that lower back. We're going to stay in this position a little bit longer, working more now into our shoulder stability. So we're going to go into our bridge position. If it's too much on your shoulders, then you can, I'll show you an adaptation just to keep it a little bit lower. So just starting with our neutral pelvis, really grounding here through the feet. So find that big toe, little toe and heel. Arms are relaxed by the side, but still providing a little bit of support. So inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to start to peel from the bottom of the spine, pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. So pushing those hips up, nice and active through the thighs, working through those glutes as well. So just rolling up onto the top of this back. I don't want you coming onto the neck. So just stopping at the shoulders. Pushing the hips up towards the ceiling here. If it's too much, just come to a point where you can kind of comfortably hold it. Inhale, we're going to bring it back down. So activating each vertebra at a time here. So we want each vertebra to play its part in the movement. Exhale, let's take it back up again. So imagine that your spine is almost like links in a chain. So we want each link sort of clunk individually. Pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. Again, that spirit level is here, so we want to keep the hips stable. So really controlling that movement, just thinking about what every part of the movement is doing. Let's do one more. Exhale, really squeezing those glutes, allowing the hips to lead the movement here. Inhale, let's take it back down as we exhale, really squeezing the air out of the lungs. I'm going to do another couple. If you're comfortable where you are, you can stay there. Otherwise, we're going to take it up again. So exhale. When we get to the top, inhaling, exhale, we're going to scissor the arms. So one arm comes overhead, back to center. Opposite arm comes overhead, bring it back to center. Then we're going to roll back down. Exhale. Taking time to move one vertebra at a time. Inhaling here again. Exhale, let's push those hips up towards the ceiling one last time. Slow and controlled as we come to the top. Exhale, one arm is coming overhead. Inhale. Exhale, let's take it over the other way. Bringing it back to center. Feeling that squeeze in the glutes. We're inhaling, exhale. Let's gently roll it down one vertebra at a time. Coming back into that neutral position with the spine. Again, if you want to bring your knees into your chest, just give your lower back a little bit of a release. Give yourself a little gentle Sunday hug. Okay, the latecomer joining us. Okay. So from here, I just want you to take your hands and just sort of slide them under your bum. So your palms are facing downwards and your Backs of your hands are under your bum. And from here, we're going to push the chest up towards the ceiling. So just giving our upper back a little bit of a release. So just a nice stretch just before we transition to our next movement. We'll just take a few gentle breaths here. Gently remove the hands, bring it back down to neutral. So we're going to sit up again. Hands are behind us with the fingers pointed towards the bum. So I'm going to give you a couple of options here. So it's quite strong through the shoulders. So depending on your strength within your shoulders, again, we want the point of contact with the feet. So layer one, we'll inhale. As we exhale, we're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. So that might be enough for you. You might find that's enough of a challenge for your arms, for your shoulders. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, we're going to go into a reverse tabletop. So pushing the hips up towards the ceiling again. So really the same movement with the hips as when we were in our bridge position. Inhale, let's bring it back to center. Exhale, we're either lifting to here or we're coming up into our tabletop. Exhale. Bringing it back to center. We'll do a couple more of those. Let's make it 4. Pushing those hips up towards the ceiling, strong through the shoulders. Remembering that tennis ball between the chin and the chest, so the head is just floating on top of the spine. Let's make this our last one. Pushing up through the hips. Exhale. Inhale, gently lowering now back to center. Coming up to seated, give your arms a little bit of a shake. Well done. That is a bit of a tough one. Quite challenging in that position because it's not something that we naturally work with. Okay, how are we? Brilliant. Okay. I want you to come and lie on your side now. So working a little bit more through our shoulder. So your head can just be resting on your arm, or if you've got a cushion or a jumper you want to put into your head, you can do. Knees can be bent, so we want the heels in line with the hip. Top hip is pushed down, so the hips are stacked on top of each other. So again, we want that almost that spirit level, keeping these vertical. So top arm is resting on the hip. Inhale here. As we exhale, we take the arm forward. Start to make some nice big circles with the shoulder. Exhale. So again, the tummy button pulled in towards the spine. So we're keeping the waist lifted. So we're active in this mid portion of the body. Exhale. And imagine there's a wall behind you as well. So we want to keep the spine or the hips from rolling backwards. Exhale. Let's do one more before we take it in the opposite direction. Inhaling here. Exhale. Let's take it round the other way. Nice big circles, really reaching through the length of the fingers, really elongating through the whole of the arm. Really working that ball and socket joint, getting it nice and lubricated. Let's do 2 more. Exhale. Last one, make it a nice big circle, bringing it back now. We're going to bring the hand to rest on top of the hip, coming just to prop ourselves up onto our forearm now. So I'll give you 2 options for the legs. They can either both be long, which is a bit more challenging. Otherwise, top leg is long and the bottom leg can go into a right angle position behind you just to provide you with a bit more stability. So we're starting with the top arm rested on the hip, lifted up through the waist here. So we want to keep the upper body in that stable position, not rolling back. So as we exhale in to lift the arm overhead whilst we lift the leg. Inhale back to center. So challenging our shoulder stability here as well as our core at the same time. So you get 2 for 1 on this one. Exhale. Bring it back to center. Bring it up. So really lengthening through the toes. So the toes are pointed. Just working the hamstrings and the muscles within the calves. Also working into the side of our glutes here as well, so making our bum muscles nice and strong. Let's do 2 more. Back to center. Exhale. Gently lowering it down. Bringing that top hand in front of you now. The legs are staying where they are. We're going to flex the foot this time, so bringing the toes up towards the calf. So take a big inhale. So we exhale, we're going to bring the knee up towards the chest. So almost going into that sort of deep squat position where the hip flexors are shortened. Exhale, push that leg away. So lengthening here through the side of the waist. Trying to keep the hips stacked. So as we bring the leg up, trying to keep that length in the side of the body. Exhale. Exhale, bring it up. Squeeze as you push it away, lengthening through that leg. Let's do 2 more. Exhale. So trying to keep the foot at the same distance from the floor the whole way round, if that makes sense. Exhale. Bring it down, bend the knees, give your bum a bit of a rub if you need to. We're going to flip it over onto the other side now, so do the same or again on the opposite leg. Let's change positions. So starting just lying low onto the arm, the legs can be bent as long as we're nice and lifted through the waist, so the abdominals are always working. So starting with the arm resting on the hip, inhale here, so exhale, we're going to circle the arm forward. Exhale. Take it round. So really reaching to each point of the circle, really elongating through the shoulder, keeping the arm long, fingers along, lifted up through the waist. Let's do 2 more. Exhale. Last one. You may find one shoulder is a little bit more difficult to work than the other. Mine's clunking away. Let's take it the opposite direction. Exhale. Take it round. So always coordinating the breath with the movement. So exhaling on the effort, inhaling to come back. Let's do 3 more. Exhale. Exhale it round. Last one. Make this a good one. Really lengthening through those fingers. Bring it back to center. Bring the arm to rest on that hip now. Coming to rest up onto our forearm again. So I'll give you those 2 options. So the legs can be long, or that bottom leg can be bent behind you. Top hand resting on the hip, lifted up through the waist, abdominals are active again. Inhale as we exhale left, let's lift the top arm and the top leg, so pointing the toes. Inhale. Exhale. So working within that single plane of movement, so we're just going up and down. We don't want any deviation to the front or the back. So again, just remembering that wall behind you. Exhale, let's do 3 more. That's 2. Really lifting that leg, squeeze the glutes. Last one, let's take it up. Bringing it back to center. Keeping that top leg long now, flexing the foot, so pulling the toes in towards the shin. Top hip is pushed down, lengthening here between the rib cage and the hip. Inhale, exhale to bring the knee up towards the chest. Exhale, let's push it away. Exhale, bring it up. Inhale here. Exhale, let's push it away. So shortening here through the hip flexors, keeping the abdominals active to stop the hips from falling backwards. Let's do 3 more. So as we push it away, lengthen through the back of the leg, feel the side of the waist lengthen as well. Exhale. Let's make this one our last one. Pushing it away, gently lowering that leg down. Give your bum a little bit of a rub, roll your shoulder around. Gently loosening it up. We're going to come onto all 4s now, so if it's difficult with knees and things, by all means put something under just to support the knees, or if you want to sort of do it intermittently, you can do it. Come back and join us when you're ready. So we're going to come onto all 4s. So we want this straight line from the elbow, wrist and shoulder. Knees are at right angles to the hips. And we're just going to find that neutral pelvis again. So inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to push the spine up towards the ceiling. So really arching through the back. Inhale here, exhale, let's drop the tummy button down towards the floor. So really arching through that lower back, so activating the lower back here. Exhale, let's push it up. So nice and strong through the shoulders. Shoulders are providing that support. Let's do one more in each direction. Exhale, pushing it up towards the ceiling. Inhale, pushing it down towards the floor. Coming to rest now in that neutral position. Imagining you've got a glass of water here on the small of the back that you don't want to spill. So we want to keep the lower back nice and stable. So imagining that you've got a candle here between your hands and you want to push your chest away from it. You don't want to get burnt. So keep the activation through the shoulder. So inhaling here, as we exhale, we're going to circle one arm around. So almost as if you're cleaning the floor. A nice task for a Sunday. Exhale, let's take it round. Exhale, inhale it back to center. Taking it round. Let's do two more. Bringing it round now back to center. Let's shift our weight onto the opposite hand. Taking the other hand forward. Exhale. Let's draw those big circles with the shoulder. Keeping active through the supporting arm. So remember that candle we want to keep pushed away from the floor. So both shoulders working really hard here. Again, the lower back is staying stable. Let's do two more. Last one, bringing it back to center. If you want to at any point, just sit back onto the heels, then you can do. And just come back and join us when you're ready. So finding your neutral position. We're going to move each hand forward now. So imagining almost that the hand is on rail, so it's just moving in that single plane. So inhale here. Exhale, let's slide that hand forward. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale. Bring it back to center. Really lengthening through the length of the arm here. Exhale. Let's do one more each side. If that's enough, then you can stay there. If you want to progress, we're going to take the arm up to shoulder height. So again, just keeping that engagement with the sort of fixed arm here. So keeping pushed away from the mat. Just moving the arms in isolation. Backwards and forwards in that single plane of movement. Abdominals are working here still as well. Keep our pelvis stable. Keep us lifted away from the mat. Let's do one more. Exhale. Lengthening through those shoulders here. Exhale. Bring it back to center. Again, if you want to sit back on your heels, you can do. We're now going to do the same movement again, but with the legs. So both hands now are in contact with the mat. So just finding a foundation in one of your legs as we take the other leg back. So just again, sliding it along the mat. Bring it back to center. Exhale. So squeeze that bum as you take it backwards. Remembering that glass of water on the small of the back. So we want to keep that level. Just really bringing your concentration to this movement now, particularly because you can't really see what the leg is doing. Exhale. Let's do one more each side. If you're happy there, let's stay there. Otherwise, we're going to either slide one arm and leg to here or take it up. So choose which leg you want to work with. Exhale. So abdominals working harder here because they're lifting the arm and the leg in opposition, so working into the obliques. Exhale. Let's do one more each side and then we will come and lie onto our tummies. Exhale. Last one, let's take it forward. Bringing it now back to center, nice and gently. Let's just come and sit back onto the heels. Just releasing the wrist, just give the wrist a little bit of a roll around. Just give the lower back a bit of a rest for a moment. Take a few breaths here. We're nearly there, we're doing really well. We've got one more set of movements on our tummies, and we'll go into some stretches, a short relaxation, and then actual Sunday sorted. Okay, let's come and lie on our tummy. So we're going to come into a gentle cobra position. So if you're in Thursday's class, you remember I mentioned that we want the movement really to come from the upper back and not all from the lower back. So we're going to start with the elbows tucked in. Palms are down onto the mat. Just finding the grounding in your legs. So we want that length through the leg. Feel the pelvis in contact with the mat. So the lower body, although it's not working, is still active, providing that stability. Inhaling here, exhale, let's lift the chest off the floor. Just a gentle movement. So we want the movement to come from the middle of the back, from the thoracic spine here. Inhale, let's take it down. Exhale, lifting it up. Just noticing each vertebra of the spine as it lifts up away from the mat, keeping that tennis ball between the chin and the chest. Inhale. Let's do one more of those, really pushing the hips into the floor, allowing us to mobilize the middle of the back. Inhale, back to center. We're going to take the arms long now. So we're really lengthening from the fingertips down to the toes. Finding that neutral pelvis again, so the contact between the hip bones and the mat. Inhaling here as we exhale, we're going to circle the arms round behind us, lifting up through the chest. So we don't want to overextend through the lower back, just keep that movement sort of isolated into this section. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, let's lift up through the chest, pointing those fingers down towards the toes, squeezing those shoulder blades down. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do one more. We come to the top. If you're comfortable with it, we're going to slide one hand down towards the knee. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, take it down the other way. Circle those arms forward. Exhale. Sliding one hand down, back to center. Keeping the hips grounded. Feet are working hard to keep us steady. Inhale. Let's do one more. Sliding that hand towards the knee, back to center. Exhale. Gently bringing the arms forward. Just taking a couple of breaths here. Okay, coming up to a seated position now. Ooh. You're all still with me? That's a good sign. We're nearly done. We're nearly there. So just find those sit bones again. Nice and long through the spine. We're going to take one arm across the chest, just pushing onto the top of the arm. Just notice that stretch through the tricep and through the shoulder. Just starting to breathe naturally now, just starting to wind down a little bit. Gently release. Let's take the opposite arm, pushing on the tricep, feeling that stretch through the shoulder. Gently release, bringing the palm behind us onto the shoulder blade, pushing onto that tricep again. Just feeling more of a stretch through the sort of outside of the shoulder here. Down through the back of the arm as well. Gently releasing it down. Let's take it on to the other side. Pushing it backwards. Just feeling that gentle stretch. Doesn't have to be a huge movement, as long as you feel something. Gently release it down again. We're going to take one leg long. The other leg can be bent. Just taking the arm opposite the bent leg, taking it over, feeling that rotation through the spine. So pushing the arm against this bent leg, taking the opposite arm behind you for a bit of support. Just feel that rotation through the upper spine. So the more you push against that leg, the more of a stretch you'll feel. Bring it back to center. Let's swap the legs around. Taking that arm over, pushing against that leg. Feel that rotation in the opposite direction. So imagine that your spine is a wet cloth. You want to wring out all of that water. Really rotating through that middle back. Gently releasing. Coming now to lie on your back. Some final stretches before our relaxation. So coming to lie on your back. Going to take the arms up towards the ceiling. So as we did when we were standing up at the very beginning, we're going to reach one hand towards the ceiling. So imagine you're trying to pick those apples off a tree. So just protracting, retracting through the shoulders. Just providing that mobility. It's a nice stretch through the top of the back. Let's do one more each side. Taking the arms overhead now, taking the legs long, just feel that full body stretch. So it's really stretching from fingers to the toes. Just breathing into it, just allow the body to begin to unwind. Gently lowering the arms down. We're going to bring the knee into the chest. Just one knee at a time. Stretching through the glutes a bit here, giving the hip flexors a bit of a stretch as well. And let's take that leg out to the side, so taking it away from us. Just opening out through the hip. Just breathing into it, just enjoying the stretch. Bring it back to center. Taking that leg long, bringing the other knee up to the chest, pulling it in towards you. Taking it out now, so rotating that hip outwards, opening up through the hip. Inhaling it back to center, gently release. Fabulous, well done. You have all finished your Sunday Pilates class. If you want to hang around for 5 more minutes for a gentle relaxation, then please do so. If you want to put on any other layers, socks, jumpers, what have you, come and find a comfortable position just for a few moments. Get our Sunday relaxation in before we kick off with the rest of the day. So we're just coming to find a comfortable position where you can sort of stay and relax for 5 minutes or so. Just gently closing the eyes. Just bringing your awareness to the space around you. Noticing where the breath is in the body. In the nose, in the mouth, in the chest, or in the belly. Just noticing that rise and fall. Just allowing your body to gently unwind with each exhale. Bringing the attention now to the body. Just noticing any areas of tension or discomfort. Just using this short time to begin to unwind. Starting at the top of the head. Just gently scanning down. Paying attention to any areas of discomfort, allowing the brow to soften, allowing the jaw to drop. Relaxing through the cheeks. Moving down to the shoulders. Just feeling the weight of the shoulders on the mat beneath you. So noticing any tension melting away as you exhale. Allowing the arms to relax down by the side. Feel the fingers naturally curl. Just moving down now towards the belly, towards the hips. Just noticing any tension, any discomfort. Just allowing any tension to dissolve into the mat beneath you as you exhale. Feel the thighs begin to soften. Allow the knees to drop. Feeling the weight of the legs on the surface beneath you. Just allowing the surface to take your weight as your muscles relax. Just noticing those small muscles within the feet. Allowing each one to gently soften, gently relax. Taking a moment just to let go of any remaining tension. Just keeping your focus on the body. Just taking these few moments for you. Beginning to breathe a little bit deeper now. Bring the attention back to the breath. Feel the rise and fall of the belly. Gently starting to roll the neck from side to side. Starting to mobilize through the upper spine. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. Just bringing the body back up to life, bringing your attention back to the space around you. Gently opening the eyes when you're ready, coming back up to seated. I know it's hard on a Sunday to bring yourself back round. Inhale, we're just going to bring the arms overhead, just reaching up towards the ceiling. Exhale it down. Inhale. Just bring some oxygen back into the lungs. Inhale here. Let's bring the palms together. Exhale, bring it down. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it.